Hello everybody, in today's video we're talking about the 10 things that you should be doing about 10 years before you're ready to retire. My name is Dawn Dickinson and the channel is Living Your Best Life Over 55. Okay, the first thing you need to do is start thinking about your retirement plans and kind of start fine-tuning them. Now, you've probably already been doing some planning. Hopefully you have been contributing to a IRA or a 401k so that you're not like, oops, it's 10 years from now and I have no money saved. So hopefully you've been doing that, but I'm talking about fine-tuning as into thinking about what age would you like to retire? How old do you want to be? How do you want to spend your time? Do you want to just sit around and do no work at all after retirement, or are you planning to do something else, like maybe having a side hustle to keep you going, like side business, or maybe a part-time job someplace else? So think about what you might want to be doing. Do you want to relieve yourself of all work, or do you want to just leave your all-consuming career and do something that's a little bit more mellow and more in line with the type of activity that you like to do, the type of job you like to do, like working at a golf course or working at the community theater selling tickets or something like that? Think about how you want it to be at a high level at this point. All right, second thing you need to do is start looking at your financial situation a little more closely. Research what age you'd be eligible for Social Security and at what age might be the best time to take Social Security. Think about how much Medicare is going to cost you, how much it's going to cover, how much are one of those supplement plans going to cost you, and if you have any other insurance needs that you have to do. I say if you haven't already been consulting with your financial advisor, this is a good time to do it. Look at your 401k or any IRAs you have and see how much that is going to save you and what that could contribute to your monthly income, and start planning about how much you're going to need to live on. So at this point, I have to say I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm going to want you to talk to a financial expert about those type of details, but this is really where you need to start looking at all those financial things. Okay, number 3 does kind of relate to financing, but you need to start paying off all your unsecured debt like credit cards. So if you have a huge credit card balance, you want to start paying that off so that by the time you're at retirement, you have a zero or close to zero balance and you're able to pay off your credit cards every single month, because carrying a balance is very difficult on you financially. Certainly in your working years, it's difficult to carry credit card balances, but once the time you're ready to retire, you want to have all that taken care of so you're not dealing with the layover of spending that you had before you had retired. Okay, the next thing you need to seriously think about is, where do you want to live after you want to retire? Do you want to stay living in the house that you've lived in all along, or would you rather move someplace else? And if you move someplace else, do you want to stay close to your family and friends, or do you want to kind of give yourself a little bit of a distance between your relatives? Do you want to move maybe in a different part of the same state, or do you want to move out of state, or maybe you want to consider being an expat and move to another country? Also, the kind of living things you want to think about is, would you want to downsize, or do you want to stay in a big home that you are living in now? Would you consider living in a townhouse? Do you want to live in an age-restricted community, because then you're going to have friends that are the same age as you? Would you consider a mobile home and a mobile home park? So all those things about how you want your living situation to pan out at retirement, you need to start thinking about that now. I, for instance, lived in Phoenix most of my life, and about 5 years ago I decided I'm going to want to live in Sedona, Arizona when I retire. So I kind of moved to Sedona, even though I wasn't ready to retire. I was, like 54 when I moved here. I was thinking, by the time I'm ready to go, which might be mid to late 60s, I'll already be established in Sedona, and that's where I want to be when I retire. And that doesn't mean your plans can't change, because now I'm thinking, maybe I should have stayed closer to the kids, or maybe I should have moved to Flagstaff. But of course, those things you don't know, kind of get into the high level. Maybe want to try out where you want to live and move there now, and then you could always move away again if you don't like it where you decided to retire, and then you're not stuck someplace living where you really don't want to be. Okay, number 5 is very important, is you want to position yourself to have a reliable paid off vehicle at the time you're ready to retire. So I, for instance, the last 10, 15 years, I haven't wanted to buy a new car because I don't like to have car payments, even though maybe I could buy a new car without having a car payment. I just don't like to do that. So the last 3 or 4 vehicles I've bought have been used vehicles that I've paid cash for. And that could be a good option too, to buy a nice few-year-old vehicle with not that many miles on it for cash. The other thing you could do, I just recently bought a brand new vehicle and I'm making payments on it, and I'm thinking, in 4 to 5 years that will be paid off, and yet I won't have a billion miles on it, so it should be reliable into my retirement years. So start thinking now what kind of vehicle you want to drive. Is the one that you're driving now going to work for you? And if so, maybe kind of position yourself that you have a vehicle when you're retirement age that is in good shape, well taken care of, reliable, but you don't want to have car payments at that point. You can, of course, if you have a huge income planned for yourself after you're 65 or 67, but I just think most of the time we want to have a paid off vehicle if we can pull that off. Okay, number 6 is very important, is to assess the situation with your adult kids. Like many of you, your adult kids are long out of the house and you've got grandkids. Some of you have great grandkids by the time you're close to retirement. I had my kids late in life. I had my first child at 36 and my second one at 38. And my daughter is just graduating college, actually in 2 weeks. So at this point, a lot of times your kids, you're done when they've graduated college. You're not helping them with expenses anymore. But my daughter is actually thinking of going to graduate school or possibly medical school. So here I am pushing 60. Her father is in his early 60s. And we're like, can we continue paying for her education? I would love to be able to put her through medical school, but realistically, if we were younger, we might be able to pull it off. So you might have to have a conversation with your kid at this point, like, I'm sorry, now that you've got your bachelor's degree, I'm not going to be able to help with your tuition anymore, or I'm not going to be able to help with your college expenses anymore, and kind of lay that with them, that foundation that you're not going to be able to continue supporting them financially however you're doing it. Some people have their adult kids still living with them when they're close to retirement. I actually have an adult son with a disability who lives with his father, probably will always live with either his father or his mother, so you have to make your plan around that. So in our situation, we probably would never live in a 55 plus community because we want to have it possible that our adult child could live with us after retirement. But if you have able-bodied earning adult children, you might need to say, hey, I know I've enjoyed you living here all this time, but in 3 years I'm going to retire and I'm going to have to downsize and I'm going to live in a one-bedroom townhouse and there won't be room for me, so start thinking about moving out. Now, which is funny, I think this is funny, is that when we were young, 18, 19 years old, most of us were like wanting to do anything we could to move out into our own place and have an independent apartment or whatever. And it seems like the kids now want to stay living with their parents for a long, long time. So we didn't maybe have that conversation with our parents when we were young, but we may need to have having that conversation with our kids now because the philosophy of the younger generations have certainly shifted over the years. All right, number 7 thing to think about is you need to start getting yourself into optimal health. So if you've had this nagging condition where you get a little bit pain in your shoulder or something and you've been ignoring it, maybe now is the time that you go to the doctor. Or if you've been pre-diabetic or having some health issue kind of creeping up but hasn't like disabled you at this point, now you really need to start taking care of it. You probably need to start eating better nutrition, start exercising if you haven't done that, because as we age, those things are more important. When we were in our 20s, we could have a pizza for dinner and Tostitos for breakfast, and we would still be okay. But by the time you get into your 50s and 60s, you want to start eating better nutrition, taking care of your health, doing some exercise, and visiting your doctor more regularly just to make sure that you are in optimal health, because you don't want to be, hey, yay, I'm retired, and the next month you find out you have a very difficult health situation that wouldn't have been so bad had you looked into that 10 years prior. Number 8 is you want to start thinking about how you want to spend your time after retirement. A lot of people say, oh, I want to sit on the beach drinking margaritas all day. Well, that's fine for about a month, and then you're going to come back and think, wow, I got a little bit bored with this. What do I really want to do? So you really want to think about how you want to spend your time. Do you want to spend time hanging out with your grandkids every day? Do you want to start teaching your grandson how to build something in wood shop? Do you want to start working with your grandchildren, your daughters, on how to do other things things that they might like. Either way, I'm not trying to be sexist and say you want to do cooking with your granddaughter, cooking with whatever grandkids. Think about what you want to do. You want to do grandkids? My mom wasn't really into the grandkids, that she wanted to spend more of her time doing art projects. So she got really involved into the art club and did, art classes 3 times a week, and all of her other spare time working on art projects. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Do you want to work and move out to the country where you could go hiking and fishing every day? Do you want to be an outdoorsman? Do you want to travel? Do you want to go to Europe? That, of course, if you want to do that, that's going to take a different financial commitment than if you want to just stay home and make doilies with your grandkids. So think about how you want to spend your time. Maybe you do want a part-time job. Maybe you want to work at the golf course selling stuff in the golf shop, or maybe you want to work at Crystal Magic here in Sedona. That's going to be my default. If things don't work out, I'm working in a crystal shop. So think about how you want to spend your time, and hopefully it's not because you have to make more money. Hopefully it's doing something you want. Like, I'm going to continue this YouTube channel after I retire. My big thing is I don't want to be hustling for real estate deals when I'm in my 60s. I probably will continue both of my real estate channels, but I don't think I'm going to be so active in real estate where the leads that come in through the channel, I'm out there showing houses and making deals and doing home inspections. I'd like to make it so that I might get leads through YouTube, but I give them to other agents to work them and get a small referral fee. And then this channel I'm going to do just because this is fun, and maybe I can generate some income from it and maybe not, but I enjoy making these videos. So that's kind of how I would be spending my time, doing that. And hopefully I'll have grandkids at that point and be able to spend time with them. But these are all the things that you want to think about. How do you want to spend your time? Don't just think I'm going to have margaritas on the beach for the rest of the next 60 years after I retire, because that's going to be getting old fast. And even though that's something you might want to do once in a while, you're probably not going to think doing that every single day is what you're going to want to do after you've left the corporate world. Now, number 9 kind of still relates to number 8, is you're going to want to start learning the skills that you're going to need to have to conduct your post-retirement plans. Do you want to travel? If you want to go to Europe, maybe you want to start looking at learning a new language at this point. Or if you want to start a YouTube channel, maybe you want to start practicing on doing things on the camera, learning some editing skills, that kind of thing. So if you have your desire of what you want to be doing right now, number 8 is when you're going to start wanting to learn those skills. And you could take a lot of courses on places like Udemy, or even on YouTube. There are a lot of tutorials on how to do some of these things. So you don't even have to have a huge financial commitment to learn the new skills, but now is a great time to start practicing and getting the skills down so that when you're retired, you're ready to go full speed on the things that you're planning and the things that you enjoy doing. Okay, number 10 is to start building your social networks, because nobody wants to retire and then, oh, I don't have any friends because I've been working my butt off the last 10 years and I don't know anybody outside of the business. So again, I'm going to use my mother for an example. She just joined the art club. She probably joined the art club 30 years before retirement. So she had this network, but things like that, clubs for the hobbies that you like, getting involved in the clubs. And then by the time you're retired, you know the people, you already have the network of, classes in art, or classes in woodworking, or restoring your old classic cars. You want to get connected with the people that are into that kind of stuff long before retirement. And even if it's not a hobby, if it's just going to church and establishing a social network with people that you meet there, but getting your social network in place to get that you've got friends outside of the corporate world, because you don't want to be retiring and now I'm lonely because I don't know anybody outside of work. And once you retire, you're probably not going to be as close with your old work friends, because they're still, having their life sucked out of them to complete their corporate jobs. So you want to get your friends in order so that you've got a good social network, because we all know that social network is very important for keeping your brain intact as you age. And then number 10 is going to be to keep, after your retirement, keep your brain focused, because nothing is worse than retiring and then start getting the dementia because you're just sitting around watching the news all day. It's important to keep your brain engaged, and if you want to be doing crossword puzzles and reading books and learning new skills, all those things help keep your brain in order so that you can enjoy your retirement and not have to get put into a memory care facility 2 or 3 years after your retirement because your brain went from full speed ahead to now I'm doing nothing. So you want to keep your brain brain engaged. So plan for that. Start doing activities before retirement that's going to keep your brain going. And some of the things that we've talked about, the social networking, the learning new skills, the planning, those are all good. Read every day. Those are all good for keeping your brain engaged and working so that you'll avoid the cognitive decline, because you don't want to retire and then have the dementia, because that's really sad. My mother's going through that now, and there's nothing more heartbreaking than watching a strong, vibrant woman with everything going for her reduced to the mental capacity of the 3-year-old. So that's it. That's my 10 tips, things to start doing before you're ready to retire, about 10 years before you're ready to retire. My name is Dawn Dickinson. I live in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. I am a real estate agent in Sedona. So if you have interest in learning about Northern Arizona real estate, go to my other channel. I've got plenty of videos on that, and I have the description and link to that below. I hope you have a great week. I post videos like this every single week, so if you find this helpful, please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel, because I post new videos every single week, and I hope to see you back here again next week.